अगर आपके पास देसी गाय नहीं है, and if you feel that I have a foreign cow, can I use it? Use it. Use the dung. Use the urine. We used the razor after going to college. Now they use razor in 10th standard. Lots of hormones are being circulated into the food industry. जहां जामुन के पेड़ हैं, उसके जो पत्ते नीचे गिर के गलते हैं और सड़ते हैं, वहां पे microbial density and earthworm density is maximum. Please remember, nature takes 250 to 400 years to develop 1 inch of topsoil. If a mom is pregnant and if you want the baby to grow very well, would you inject medicines to the baby or will you take care of the mom? If anybody is selling you earthworms and tells buy 500 male and 500 female, he's cheating you. This color is because of a nasty chemical called as neonicotinoids. It's a 5th generation neurotoxic substance which is coated on the top. What I'm worried is about my farmers. Let us call it as permaculture. Let some of them call it as biodynamic. Let some call it as sustainable. Let some call it as natural. Let some call it as organic. Let us all unite to work towards non-chemical, non-poisonous farm. It's time that people like us are able to again bring back and revive the soils with its nutrient content. Namaskar. I am a teacher and this is my 50th year of teaching. November 1974, I started teaching. This is my 50th year of teaching. I started my research on soils in 1978-79. I'm not going to teach anything new to you people. I'm just going to share my experiences, some of the things which you already know and some which may be new to you. People call it as a World Soil Day. On 5th December 2021, they called it as World Soil Day. And look at the theme, halt soil salinization, boost soil productivity. All are just imaginations. Just have a look at these things. And then they brought this sustainable development goals, which every college, every institution, every government body is trying to concentrate on. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, 17 SDGs. इसमें से जो मुझे अच्छा लगा, 2030, nutritious and sufficient food for all. Is it possible? We have only 7 years left. End all forms of malnutrition by 2030. Double agricultural productivity. I don't know whether we'll be able to do it or not. Improve land and soil quality. Maintain genetic diversity of seeds, biodiversity of soils, everything. Of cultivated plants, farmed animals, everything. और फिर उन्होंने कहा टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलपमेंट एंड प्लांट लाइफ स्टॉक जीन बैंक्स, जैसे कि भाई साहब ने बताया कि हमने सीड बैंक बनाई है. एवरीथिंग अपीयर्स टू बी गुड ऑन प्रिंट. Prevent trade restrictions and proper functioning of food commodity markets. These are the highlights as far as agriculture is concerned. As far as the SDGs are there. ठीक है? अब ये are a question mark to me. I have been working with people, with farmers. And luckily now I am also a member of the Planning Commission for the Government of Tamil Nadu. So I was able to introduce some policies over there. We are now 121st position in the world. 121. अब इसमें से future of food के बारे में लोग बोल रहे हैं कि natural resources diminish होते जा रहे हैं. So how are we going to maintain it? I'm just raising these questions because I'm going to provide you with probable answers and also technologies so that you can go and practice them, right? Individuals will be eating highly cultured. They want to eat insects. They want us to eat insects. They want to ask us to eat cultured cells which will be made as meat products. Global food tech market, that's what is aiming. It is going to grow to 342.52 billion and food demand is going to increase. So actually it's a business. So as भाई साहब जैसे बता रहे थे ना, बीज हमारी थी लेकिन कोई और बेचेगा, यानी मतलब rich people will eat. It's going towards corporatization, complete corporatization. But these are the problems which you are going to face. Mean temperature is changing, precipitation, rainfall is changing. तो अगर ये होता रहेगा, तो हमारा जो है खाने का जो तरीका है, that's based on tradition, religion, family, all those things. How it is going to get affected. This is what is the future of food communications. Food communication में appetite appeal. जब हम लोग बच्चे थे, यानी मतलब मेरे एज ग्रुप को बोल रहा हूँ, when we used to go to the bakery, हम लोग बोलते थे कि भाई मुझे केक चाहिए, एक ही केक था, और उसमें भी अगर कुछ चाहिए तो फिर उसमें वॉलनट केक, ऊपर 2 वॉलनट लगाएगा था, उसका नाम वॉलनट केक बन जाता। आजकल के बच्चों को जब आप बेकरी ले जाते हैं तो बच्चा बोलता है कि मुझे ब्लू कलर केक चाहिए, रेड कलर केक चाहिए, येलो कलर केक चाहिए. He doesn't know the contents, only appeal, what color looks like. The whole concept is changing. The second one, recommendations, what you see, advertising, right? Visual stimuli, कितना अच्छा लगता है. And that is what many of us are doing today, that the moment you go to a restaurant, you order for a fancy meal, the first thing you have to do is take a picture and post on Instagram. Because it has a visual stimuli. Reputation and advocacy. People to keep talking. उस restaurant में बहुत अच्छा मिलता है. And that stimulates us and we start going. Health and wellness, चंद लोग देखते रहते हैं, programs देखते रहते हैं, जैसे कि मोटा दाना जिसने कहा इन्होंने, हम लोग minor millets कहते हैं वहाँ पे, सिरुधानी हम कहते हैं हम लोग तमिलनाडु में, और culture. These are the things which are going to influence. ये corporate का view है. अभी हिंदुस्तानी व्यू देखेंगे. ये कल रात को मुझे आया था एक वीडियो, मेरे दोस्त ने भेजे थे, तो मैं अभी सुबह सुबह इसको इनकॉर्पोरेट किया. एक स्वामी जी अपने सर के ऊपर जो है धान उगाते हैं.
He has developed the habit of sleeping while sitting up. He can sense when the rice is in need of water through the skin of his scalp. When his scalp feels dry, he waters his head, leading to a bountiful growth of rice. At harvest time, he gathers the rice to make a delicious meal and then replants it, continuing this cycle for decades.
ठीक है ना? ये जो मेरा स्टूडेंट भेजा था मुझे, तब मैं उसको लिखा कि मेरे सर पे बाल ही नहीं उगते हैं तो कहाँ से धान होगी. That's the reply I sent to my student, right? Well, one thing I remembered was, especially for the benefit of students, when I was in class 5, my teacher told me that I would not pass class 8. And he told me that there is chickenity in my head. So remember, if any teacher tells you that you're not able to understand and you have soil in your head, be proud that you're going to produce something else, because I became a soil biologist. So please think different, children. Please think different. Basic concepts थोड़ा सा समझ लीजिए आप. Energy flows, nutrient cycle. तो इस basis में who will eat more? Elephant will eat more or a dog will eat more? Elephant. ठीक है, elephant, dog, elephant. अगर इसको देखेंगे आप, तो अगर मैं elephant का weight उठा लूं तो उसका weight होता है 5000 kgs. डॉग का वेट 20 kgs होता है. एलिफेंट को अगर मैं चारा देना चाहता हूं एक दिन का, तो उसको 50 किलो घास दे सकता हूं. लेकिन कुत्ते को जो है मैक्सिमम आई कैन गिव इट बी 1 kg ऑफ मीट. फूड एंड मेडिसिन इज ऑलवेज रिकमेंडेड बेस्ड ऑन बॉडी वेट. इसीलिए डॉक्टर पहले आपका वेट लेता है. तो 5000 kg का हाथी अगर 50 kg खाता है तो उसका 1 kg वजन कितना खाता है? उसका 1 kg वजन 10 ग्राम खाता है. लेकिन कुत्ता 50 ग्राम खाता है. तो कुत्ता एलिफेंट से ज्यादा खाता है. कुत्ता क्यों एलिफेंट से ज्यादा खाना है? These are the basic concepts. इस बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट में आप देखेंगे, क्योंकि एलिफेंट eats the grass which fixes the energy, whereas dog eats the meat of an animal which has eaten the grass which fixes the energy. So we eat more. That's the reason why all Asian countries we are vegetarians. I would rather say predominantly vegetarians, because you go to any restaurant and order for a non-vegetarian thali meal. What do you get? You get rice, which is plant-based. You get chapati or paratha, which is plant-based. You get all the gravies, which are plant-based. You get sweet plant-based, raita plant-based. Finally, in a small cup, they will give 2 pieces of chicken in it and call it as non-vegetarian food. So non-vegetarian, don't compare non-vegetarian of the West with the Asian non-vegetarian. Right? It's only either the vegetarian gets 2 pieces of paneer or the other guy gets 2 pieces of chicken is what makes the difference finally. This is where biodiversity comes into existence. जब biodiversity की बात आती है, bio का मतलब हुआ life, diversity का मतलब हुआ variety. अब इस variety में हमारा देश biodiversity बहुत अच्छा है. We should be proud of it. That is where we are missing. We should be proud that we are very rich in biodiversity. We are very rich in all the fauna. We are very rich in all the flora. बहुत variety है हमारे पास. और एक एक वैरायटी में कई वैरायटी है. भेंडी ले लेंगे तो कई वैरायटी की भेंडी है. आप टमाटर ले लेंगे, कई वैरायटी की टमाटर है. इतना सारे रहते समय ये सारी चीज हमारे देश के हैं. आप पढ़ ले सकते हैं. ये सारी चीज हमारे देश के हैं. इतने होते हुए भी इतने सारे एनिमल्स भी हमारे पास थे. अब इतने रहते हुए ये प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट हुआ है. बॉस इंडिकस हमारे देश की गाय है. बॉस टॉरस बाहरी देश की गाय है. टॉरस जो है आपका जो ज़ोडिएक साइन में आता है, टॉरस द बुल. तो बॉस टॉरस, बॉस इज द जेनेरिक नेम. Taurus species, Bos indicus. इसका फर्क क्या होता है? हमारी देशी गाय में हम्प होता है जो उसमें नहीं होता है, और बैक पोर्शन हमारे देशी गाय का जो है कर्व होता है, उसका जो है थोड़ा रेस होकर फ्लैट हो जाता है, यही होता है। तो अगर एक देसी है तो दूसरी परदेसी है। अब ये बात आती है बातचीत में, अक्सर जो है जो लोग कहते हैं, देयर वन ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल हु कीप सेइंग दैट ये बाहरी गाय जो है इट इज इक्वल टू ए पिग, इट इज नॉट इक्वल टू ए पिग, इट इज ए मैमल, इट इज ए काउ। अगर आपके पास देसी गाय नहीं है और आप यहाँ आए हैं ताकि आप सीखेंगे एंड यू वुड लाइक टू गो एंड इम्प्लीमेंट ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग और वॉट एवर फार्मिंग यू आर गोइंग टू डू, नॉन केमिकल फार्मिंग, एंड इफ यू फील that I have a foreign cow, can I use it? Use it, use it, use the dung, use the urine. Because, you know, like long back when this happened, I was former head of the Department of Zoology and head of the Department of Biotechnology. So when these problems started, I had given a complete project for my students to analyze the dung and tell me what's the difference between them. Qualitatively, there is no difference. Quantitatively, there is difference. Because all the bullshit which people talk over here is based on foreign publications. In foreign countries, these cattle are stall fed. यानी मतलब उनको चारा जो है मार्केट से लेते हैं जिसमें एंटीबायोटिक्स होते हैं, जिसमें हार्मोन्स होते हैं। यहाँ पे इवन इफ इट इज अ फॉरेन काउ, उसके चारे में आपको यानी मतलब घास देते हैं, हरियाली देते हैं, कुछ वी कॉल इट एज तौड़, उम्मी वगैरह, ये सारी चीजें, एंड आल्सो वी अलाउ इट फॉर ग्रेजिंग. So a cow can shit only what it eats. Is that clear? Right? So in case you have, in future if you want to buy, promote our biodiversity. But if you already have, and if you are afraid whether I can use it or not, please forget it, continue to use it. अब न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है. हमारे देश में इतना बोलते हैं कि गाय को प्रोटेक्ट करना है या नहीं? अब ऐसा हो गया यहाँ पे हम लोग जेंडर बायस में फीमेल प्रोटेक्शन इन द ह्यूमन स्पीशीज बोलते हैं, कैटल में मेल प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द कैटल स्पीशीज. A new technology is being brought in called as Bellsville sperm sexing technology. Children, please write it down. आपके किताबों में नहीं आया अभी. It's called as the Bellsville sperm sexing technology. In this Bellsville sperm sexing technology, the sperms will be collected from the bull, and then with a special type of centrifugation, as you find over here, because every male, that is mammals, including human beings, males produce two types of sperms, the X and the Y. The Y produces a boy, the X produces a girl. Whereas a woman always produces X. She is very neutral, right? She doesn't decide the gender, sex of the baby. Create this impression in the minds of your neighbors and other people to whom you talk to. क्योंकि हर गांव में ऐसा करते हैं कि अगर लड़की पैदा हुई तो they blame the mother. It's not the mother. You have to blame the father, right? The same thing happens in cattle. So this centrifugation technology, they collect the sperms and they do it through centrifugation. They separate the X sperm from the Y sperm. The Y sperms are destroyed. The X sperms are transferred into straws, and they are used for artificial fertilization here afterwards. Here afterwards, a cow cannot love a bull of its choice to have a baby of its own. The government is bringing a regulation that bulls have become a burden. So everybody should opt to take the cow to a veterinary hospital and have the straws so that they can produce only female cows. They will have only stud bulls in the departments. This project is already come in India. And it is now with cows, it can be extended to any animal, any mammal. Poultry. Please understand the basic concepts before I go into the soil. These were our chicken, and we started calling them as native chicken. We started giving a name, and we started respecting this as a real chicken. This real chicken, when I was young, stood in attention in 70 days. Now it stands in standard days in 48 days, unable to bear the weight. The recent trend is they would like to bring this poultry in 35 days in that stage. I am not exaggerating. Please try to communicate. I have come here because I could share these experiences with you. Here, the problem is all those elderly people, you go back home, take your group photograph when you pass school. Take your own son's or relative's picture when they pass school. We used the razor after going to college. Now they use razor in 10th standard. I hope you're able to understand. Lots of hormones are being circulated into the food industry. Fish. Please be very clear again. Fish. These are our traditional fishes. Freshwater. Right? इन तीनों में आप ध्यान से देखिए. Very carefully. Katla, the mouth is facing up. Rohu, the mouth is in the middle. Mrgal, the mouth is facing down. समझ में आ गया आपको? एक का मुंह ऊपर है, एक का मुंह बीच में है, एक का मुंह नीचे देख रहा है. In case in your organic farming unit or permaculture design, you also have a pond. तो ये तीनों को आप इसलिए इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं ताकि इनका नीश ऐसा होता है. कटला ऊपर से खाती है, रोहू बीच में से खाती है और मृगल नीचे से खाती है. झगड़ते नहीं और तीनों फिश ग्रो होते हैं. This is called as niche specialization. तो आप अगर पौधे भी उगाते हैं तो आप niche specialization पे थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखिए. Habitat will be the same. Niche is different. It's something like you go to a marriage ceremony. Habitat is the wedding hall. Wedding के बाद दो group मुड़ जाते हैं, एक vegetarian dinner, एक non-vegetarian dinner. So they are two different niche within the same habitat. Is that clear? ये हमारे समुद्री मच्छी है. In spite of all this, today we are importing this fish from Indonesia and Thailand. Please be very careful. This basa fish. It is a catfish, heavily cultured. This fish, they catch it, they remove the skin, they remove the bones. It is slightly brownish in color. They use chemicals and make it white. And then it comes into India as an ice cube. This fish is sold in the market for 300 rupees a kg, whereas the Indian fish is sold for 600 to 1,000 rupees a kg. So many of the restaurants you go, you will be served in this way. Beautiful fish with bread coatings on the top, and it's so soft and sweet, and you enjoy it, spoiling your own health. So next time you go, order for a full fish or a slice of fish which has a bone in it. That's all. That's all. That's the only change you've got to bring in. These are all getting threatened because of our activities. So many species are getting threatened. Several species are getting threatened. Trees and soil. These are the values of the tree. 21st March declared as the International Day of Forests. The moment you say International Day of Forests, immediately one group jumps up and says Miyawaki Forest. It is good for a small institution. For a small institution में छोटी सी जगह है, वो लोग कुछ भी कर लेने दो. Miyawaki cannot replenish a forest. तो वहीं पे जो है गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट, I was also sitting in one of the meetings, तो वहां पे जो है ग्रीन कवर 35% चाहिए. The moment we say green cover 35%, people say Miyawaki डाल देंगे. वरना easiest, यानी मैटर ऑफ सैटेलाइट से ही देखते हैं ना आजकल ग्रीन कवर. तो जो इमीडिएट ग्रीन कवर देता है दैट इज कैशुरीना एंटीक. तो इसको उगा दो, इसको उगा दो. जैसा भाई साहब ने कहा, मिट्टी को उससे नशा मिलता है. In fact, it is not the tree which is important, it is the litter which goes for the incorporation into the soil which is important. And as he said, every plant when it grows down into the root exudates. जैसा हमें हार्मोन्स बोलते हैं, we call it in typical common words, exocrine hormones. These exocrine hormones attract a lot of microorganisms. The whole rhizosphere gets changed based on the type of tree you are growing. So next time when you think about tree growing, it is not just the green cover. Please remember that, not just the green cover. क्योंकि ये जो कैशुरीना है और टीक है, उसके जो लीव्स नीचे गिरते हैं, ये जल्दी कुछ नहीं होता है. Because that has only silica. Is that clear to you all? Right. तो इसी समय जो है ना, हमारे यहाँ कोयम्बतूर से आया है, केरल का आया है. तमिलनाडु में एक कहावत है, यानी मतलब गणेश जी है ना, गणेश जी को तो जानते होंगे. गणेश जी के एक भाई हैं, उसको कार्तिक कहते हैं, सुब्रमण्यम कहते हैं, हमारे यहाँ मुरुगन कहते हैं. उनके यहाँ एक बुढ़िया गई थी, वो पोएट है, क्या नाम है उसका, अव्वैयार कहते हैं. ये अव्वैयार ने वहां गए तो मुरुगन जी यानी कार्तिक जी ने उनसे पूछा कि तुम सुट्ट पड़म खाएंगे या सुड़ादा पड़म खाएंगे, यानी मतलब गर्म फल खाएंगे या बिना गर्म किए वो फल खाएंगे. मतलब क्या हुआ? नहीं, उनका ये था कि उसको उठा के अगर मिट्टी लग गई है फल पे तो क्या उसको फूक के खाएंगे या फूके बिना खाएंगे. वो कौन सा फल था? जामुन था. ये कहानी चल रही थी. तो मैंने बहुत बड़ा एक आर्टिकल लिखा था तमिल में इसके बारे में, और मेरे जो स्टूडेंट्स का रिसर्च चला था इस पे, जहां जामुन के पेड़ हैं उसके जो पत्ते नीचे गिर के गलते हैं और सड़ते हैं, वहां पे माइक्रोबियल डेंसिटी एंड अर्थवर्म डेंसिटी इज मैक्सिमम. हम कहानी याद रख लिए, लेकिन क्यों इसका कोई तलवा नहीं रखे. और इसी तरीके से मैं फूड चेन पढ़ाता हूँ बच्चों को. यानी फूड चेन सुना है ना आपने स्टूडेंट्स? यस, फूड चेन. उसको जैसे ही पूछो, इन बच्चों को खड़ा दो और क्वेश्चन पूछो, मैं व्हाट इज फूड चेन डिफाइन पूछूंगा, नहीं डरो मत. तो ये लोग तुरंत शुरू कर देंगे. द ट्रांसफर ऑफ एनर्जी फ्रॉम अ सोर्स ऑफ सोलर सन टू अ सीरीज ऑफ प्लांट्स टू अ सीरीज ऑफ ईटिंग एंड रिपीटिंग इज कॉल्ड एज अ फूड चेन. खत्म. लेकिन जी आजकल इम्तिहान आता है तो किसकी पूजा होती है? गणेश जी की. सरस्वती को भूल गए यार. सरस्वती इज फॉर नॉलेज. एग्जाम में गणेश जी जो है एग्जाम पास कराते हैं. अब गणेश जी की पूजा होती है. गणेश जी के पिताजी कौन थे? हाँ, उनके गले में क्या है? सांप है. और गणेश जी का व्हीकल क्या है? चूहा है. कार्तिक, उनके भाई कार्तिक, कार्तिक जी का वाहन क्या है? पीकॉक है. तो आप जब पूजा करते हैं रोज रोज घर पे, चूहे को सांप खाना चाहिए, सांप को मोर खाना चाहिए. फूड चेन रेली पूजा करते हैं. इसको पढ़ाने के लिए एक अंग्रेज आता है आपके पास, एक फूड चेन पढ़ाने के लिए. समझ गए ना? So as long as we incorporate, we talk nonsense from the governments. We don't want that nonsense. Understand the concept which is happening, as to why it is happening and what are the reasons. और इसी तरीके से different type of plants. प्लांट्स में जिसमें फ्रूट्स आते हैं, जैसे कि भाई साहब ने कहा फ्रूट्स आते हैं, तो हमें एडेड एडवांटेज होता है. बर्ड्स कम ओवर देयर, बर्ड्स डोंट जस्ट ईट, दे आल्सो ड्रॉप देयर वेस्ट एंड दैट इंक्रीजेस माइक्रोबियल डेंसिटी ऑफ द सॉइल. अगर पेड़ काटते हैं, बारिश आती है तो सारी मिट्टी जाती है. और दिस इज कॉल्ड एज टॉप सॉइल एंड टॉप सॉइल गोज अवे इनटू द रिवर्स. प्लीज रिमेंबर, nature takes 250 to 400 years to develop 1 inch of topsoil. 1 inch of topsoil. तो यहीं से अग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री का शुरू होता है. और अक्सर लोग कहते हैं कि हनी बी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नो हनी बी, नो pollination. But always remember, there are also other friends which do the job. Don't give importance to just one organism. There are multiple organisms which do the job. Kindly see to it. We do it. मिट्टी की कहानी शुरू होती है. मिट्टी की कहानी, soil is more important than you think. Soil is more important than you think. And what is soil? What is soil? Soil is food. No mitti, no soil, no food. So now shall we no soil to no food. Right. Soil को उठाएंगे. Soil की कोई उम्र होती है क्या? Age होती है नहीं? होती है. Very good. डराने से ही गलत आंसर आता है. Soil की कोई एज नहीं होती है. Rocks have an age. सॉइल डेली फॉर्म होता रहता है. यानी मतलब सॉइल डेली जब फॉर्म होता है, वो प्रोसेस को वेदरिंग प्रोसेस कहते हैं. ये वेदरिंग प्रोसेस हवा हो सकती है, बारिश हो सकती है, लॉट्स ऑफ फैक्टर्स कम टुगेदर टू ऑपरेट, व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज अ वेदरिंग प्रोसेस. इसके तुलना में अगर मैं कुछ समझाऊं आपको, ये पुराना जो रहता था, आपको याद है, मॉर्टर इन द पेजल. मॉर्टर रॉक हुआ, पेजल वेदरिंग प्रोसेस हुआ. जैसे इसमें से गोल फिर फिर के रोज बनती है, आटा निकलता है, इसी तरीके से रोज रोज वेदरिंग प्रोसेस से थोड़ी थोड़ी मिट्टी बनती जाती है. मिट्टी इज इटर्नल. मिट्टी इज इटर्नल. जैसे बीज का कहा इन्होंने, सॉइल इज इटर्नल. तो ये सॉइल जब बनता है तो 2015 में अंग्रेज को याद आया कि इसको डिक्लेयर करना है इंटरनेशनल ईयर ऑफ द सॉइल्स. तो वहीं पे मेरा काम जो है मिट्टी के साथ 78-79 में शुरू हुआ. जैसा मैंने कहा, क्योंकि my teacher told me that I have soil in my head, I became a soil biologist. Started working on soils. So I started describing soil as a living organism. तो because any textbook, ये जो बच्चे पढ़ते हैं स्कूल वगैरह में, तो उसमें जो है लिविंग नॉन लिविंग आता है, उसमें सॉइल इज डिक्लेयर्ड एज ए मिनरल मैटर. तो उसको अगर मैं लिविंग कहूं तो मुझे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन शुरू हुए. लोगों ने पूछा कि तुम लिविंग कहते हो, क्या उसको डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम है? अरे भाई, तुम जा रहे हैं रोड पे, एक एनिमल फॉर एग्जांपल डॉग इज लाइंग डेड ओवर देयर, मरा पड़ा हुआ है. तो 1 day 2 days 3 days इट स्टिंक्स. बदबू आती है नहीं? आती है. ठीक है. अगर एक गड्ढा बनाए और उसमें उसको डाल दे और क्लोज कर दें, डू यू गेट एनी स्मेल? I don't get smell. So what's happening inside? Decompose. Who is doing it, sir? Yes, very good, very good. But who is doing that job in your intestine? So if you call it as my intestine and digestive system, logically I can say soil has a digestive system. ठीक है? So it has a digestive system. फिर उन्होंने कहा कि soil respiratory system है. जैसे we take in oxygen, give out carbon dioxide. Oxygen goes into the soil, carbon dioxide comes out from the soil. Soil has this. Then they asked me whether it has a circulatory system. Right? Circulatory system. Right. I will ask one of the students. Hey, you can understand English, no? Now you are walking on the road. You suddenly get hurt on your toe. एक पत्थर था. You did not notice. Doctor gave you a tablet. Will you put the tablet in your mouth or you will put it on your thumb? Mouth. How does the medicine go to the thumb? By after digestion, who takes the medicine? Circulatory system takes the medicine. Circulatory system takes the medicine. You have plants at home. Do you pull up the plant every day and feed the root? You just put it on the top. How does it go to the root? They are the channels created by soil organisms, microorganisms, microarthropods, earthworms. So these channels form a circulatory system of the soil. Then they asked me whether it has an excretory system. When we have a break, even he was telling me, if you want to go to pee anywhere you want, we have to throw it out because we have urea which is being generated. So if there is urea is a salt of nitrogen. So if I have to throw away the salt, I go out and throw it out. Any saline soil or sodic soil, do you find salt going inside or coming out and thrown out? Thrown out. So soil logically has a excretory system. Then they asked me whether soil has a reproductive system. We know about in vitro fertilization, test tube baby, right? Now, whatever it is, what you do in the test tube in the laboratory, where should you keep the zygote, the fertilized egg, for it to grow? In the womb, the uterus of the mother. All your tissue culture plants, where should you keep them to grow? So soil has a reproductive system. Final question they asked me, soil, does it have a brain? That was the top. Soil, does it have a brain? My experience, yes, soil has a brain. You dig a pit, put any biomass, cow dung, what will happen? Kya hoga? Decompose. Put a seed, it will germinate. Soil knows what it has to decompose, what it has to germinate. Right? सो इस सॉइल को मुझे कैसे बचाना है? दिस इज व्हाट इज द बेसिस. इस सॉइल को अगर मैं बचाना है, because I have to shake hands with the soil. I will have to take the soil further because plants, they know how to behave. Plants, जैसे इन्होंने कहा, seeds will be eternal. वो अंदर से अपने आप को हैंडशेक कर लेते हैं. हम लोग बाहर से भी नहीं करते. These are all the soil organisms. You can have a look at it. These are all the soil organisms. सर मुझे क्या पता, मैं तो zoology नहीं पढ़ा, फिर भी इसमें कुछ है क्या? कैसे पहचानूं? All these are called as microarthropods. How do I know how to do it? Very simple experiment. Children, you can start doing it in your own homes. College, man, they don't give you any instruments. I know that what is happening in many private colleges. I'm the education policy itself. I know what's happening over there. These two are very important. Earthworms and termites. Termites also do a wonderful job. We don't like termites because they eat away our doors and windows. Otherwise, in a forest ecosystem, they do a wonderful job. Earthworms do a wonderful job. If you want to know how good your soil is, one simple experiment, ma. Simple experiment. Take any of the leaf if you want, cut them into circles. Take 3 types of bags. One with large mesh, medium-sized mesh, fine mesh. Put 10 discs into it. Bury it wherever you want, just slightly beneath the soil. Take it after 1 month or 1.5 months or 2 months. Take them out. You will know how much is decomposed. You will know how your soil is. Bigger mesh, even earthworms can go inside. Medium mesh, microarthropods and microbes can go. Fine mesh, only microorganisms will do. So you will know how many microorganisms are there, how many microarthropods are there, how many earthworms are there. Your experiment is over. Please don't go and stand in front of the agriculture department. Anybody from there, don't mistake me. I'm associated with them also. Soil, the moment you take, soil should have air inside it. मिट्टी के अंदर हवा चाहिए, apart from water and mineral matters. That you do it with a simple experiments. I will give you the website later. You can just access it. The problem is the NPK ratio ऐसा आता है, whereas soil organic matter कम होता जा रहा है. यही we have to have organic matter 2 to 5% as far as our thing is concerned. I happened to meet Mr. Rao just now. He said his soil he has improved to 5%. Very good. मिट्टी की खुशबू सुना है नहीं? मिट्टी की खुशबू होती है नहीं होती है? बिल्कुल नहीं होती है. मिट्टी की कोई खुशबू नहीं होती है. You take soil, dry it in the sun, smell it, absolute no smell. When it rains, it gets smell. I am going to send you back to school. Teacher told you so honestly that water is colorless, tasteless, odorless. पानी की कोई खुशबू नहीं होती है, मिट्टी की कोई खुशबू नहीं होती है. It's the microorganisms, actinomycetes, which bring that smell called as a petrochor. So that smell comes because of microorganisms, right? So this organic matter is required. Unfortunately, national average was 5.5. Now it's going down to 0.3%. We have to improve. We have to improve. All this is happening. Land degradation, soil is being lost by salinity, by sodicity, all these problems. For example, Uttar Pradesh में sodic soil बहुत है. Sodic soil is there, plenty of sodic soil. How can you handle it? We were invited. This is the type of soil, and that's the profile. That's the profile. Simple, by using organic inputs, local earthworms. We created drillospheres, which had neutral pH, where we developed. These are the drillospheres. Drillosphere. Children, especially from college, please understand. You know, like for a concrete floor, concrete wall, if you want to put a nail, what will you do? You drill it. The same way, earthworms drill into the soil. The space around that is called as drillosphere, nothing else. So they create a lot of microbial density, and that soil we were able to convert into this soil in 4.5 years. It is possible. It is possible. So please don't worry if you have what is called, according to others, bad soil. There is no soil which is bad. Every soil has a potential. Every soil is good. So now, recently, I'm also writing the land use policy for our government along with other members. So there we have removed the term wasteland. There is no wasteland created by nature. No wasteland. Unused land. If I don't know how to use it, don't call it as waste, right? So how can we convert it into something productive? Something productive. The moment we tell about soil, आपके दिमाग में आएगा. किताब में यही दिया है. कुछ समझ में आया? मुझे भी नहीं आया. So next time when you see the soil, just do a simple test. Take the soil in your palm. हाथ में ले लीजिए. थोड़ा सा पानी डाल दीजिए. Water. Make it as a dough. आटे की तरह. Take it between your thumb and your finger. Make it a small wick. Wick. ये बनाते हैं जैसे चिराग के रखते हैं. Wick. WACK. वो अगर आपसे बन नहीं पाती है, you are not able to make it. That means your soil is too sandy. You are able to make it. It is growing. 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 2.25 inch. Soil is clay. You are making, it comes around 1 inch, 1.5 inch breaks. Again, make it 1.5 inch breaks. Excellent loamy soil. Very good soil for gardens. बस इतना ही. You don't need to ask anybody. You don't need to do any specific test to it. और एक टेस्ट है, बहुत अच्छा टेस्ट, जिसको फॉरवर्ड करेंगे आप. एक बॉटल ले लीजिए, कांच का बॉटल या ग्लास, उसमें आपकी मिट्टी डाल दीजिए, इक्वल क्वांटिटी वाटर डाल दीजिए, शेक इट वेल एंड लीव इट एज सच फॉर अबाउट 3 to 4 hours. It will get segregated. You will know how much of sand is there, how much of silt is there, how much of clay is there, and how much of organic matter is there. Over. In fact, I wrote an article and a book in Tamil where I wrote the last chapter saying that every farmer is a scientist. Don't try to copy what somebody else is doing. It will not work out. It will not work out. We are just sharing experiences which need not work in your farm. You will have to adapt, modify as per your requirements. Please remember that very well. Please remember that very well. This is the simplest test I teach my farmers. Take a cow on a walk, let it put the dung over there. Leave the dung for 2-3 days. You don't take it from there. If the dung dries up as a cake, that means the soil is devoid of microorganisms and moisture. If the dung crumbles into small pellets, that means your soil is very rich with microorganisms, moisture, earthworms, and microarthropods. Do you need a test for it? That's it. That's it. Simplify things. Please simplify things. Unfortunately, today you take students for a tour, they also take pictures of the cow dung. They haven't seen it in their lifetime. 1 spoon of soil has several kills of microorganisms, and it's the source of life. We are killing it. And since this fellow came in, we started saying we don't want animals. But a tractor doesn't give dung, right? So when I plow the soil comes out. That means air goes inside. When I use heavy machinery, very heavy machinery, compaction starts. When compaction starts, soil air escapes. When soil air escapes, soil organisms perish. Is that clear? Fine. This you can even try as an experiment. Take soil, in one you put it loose, grow a plant, same seed you put it in another one which is slightly compressed, another one fully compressed, they will not grow well because compaction does not permit roots to infiltrate. So soil space, soil porosity is very important. People talk about soil fertility. It became a very bad nomenclature now. I think some of you would have given your soil for testing. दिए मिट्टी दिए है ना, कोई बात नहीं. If you are given, they will analyze the soil. They will give you NPK. They will give you pH, electroconductivity, some micronutrients. They don't stop with it. Then they put recommendation and they say add so much of DAP, so much of urea, and so much of potash. So soil fertility got related with fertilizers. So we in our circle, we don't use the term soil fertility, we use the term soil health. It's a holistic. Mitti ke khulbo, soil organisms, earthworms, everything put together. If a mom is pregnant and if you want the baby to grow very well, would you inject medicines to the baby or will you take care of the mom? Take care of the mom. The same thing, when the plants which are producing seeds, cereals and fruits, if there is no enough nutrient content in it, would you take care of the plants after harvesting the crops or would you take care of the soil? Unfortunately, our union government has shifted to fortified food with nutrient-depleted soils. Rice today in the country is taken to a machinery where rice is powdered, and to the powdered rice is added iron, B6 and B12, reformed into the shape of rice grains. 1 kg of this rice is mixed with 99 kgs of ordinary rice and is being brought back through PDS systems to feed children. This is called as fortified rice. It's time that people like us are able to again bring back and revive the soils with its nutrient content. Mitti ki sehat is more important. If you want, human health is related with soil health. Human health is not related with medicines, as Bhai Sahab was just telling us. Wahin pe ye word aaya, vermitech. Vermi is earthworms. Tech is technology. If you look at worms, these are the native worms. And if you talk about worms, broadly we can classify them into 3 types. The first one, we call it as epigeic. Epigeic. Geic, G-E-I-C, is derived from the term geo, G-E-O. Geo, geography, geology, related to earth, right? Epi means above. So those which live on the surface of the soil. The second group are the anasics. Anasic means intermediate. They keep moving up and down. They create drills in the soil. They create channels. They create aeration. They take nutrients. The third, endogeic, inside. Endo means inside. So inside the soil. Broadly classifying. There are some in-betweens. Let us ignore them. Ab isme se usually epigeics are the one which help in making compost manure and good food for the soil. Native worms. These are the native worms. Very common in South India. Perionyx excavatus, Perionyx sanseviericus are epigeic. Lambito is anasic. Octoketona group is mostly endozoic. This, I deliberately wanted to show you this. Every soil has its own type of species. हर मिट्टी का कोई बच्चा होता है वहीं पे होता है. Those who have red soil, which is slightly acidic, they will have this worm. This is called as Octoketona serrata. If you can look carefully, I have pointed out the calciferous glands. The moment this soil with acid goes into the mouth and goes here, the calciferous glands, they secrete calcium carbonate, just like people with acidity pop in an antacid tablet. So it just pours it and neutralizes. And then the food goes inside. And when the casting comes out, it neutralizes that micro area, micro habitat, and plants start growing. That is natural. This is called as calciferous glands, right? These are the tunnels created by earthworms for aeration. You can see the difference. Where there are organisms with soil organisms, activity will be very high. This is how an earthworm works. Food goes into the digestive system. After digestion, goes through the alimentary canal. Every segment has nephridia, kidney-like structures. They pour nitrogen, urea. So urea and carbon combine, and that which comes out is called as casting, vermicastings. Earthworms, this is the life cycle of them. Normally, Indian earthworms live for a period of 1 year. Their life, 1 year life. They mate with each other. Even though they are hermaphrodites, every earthworm has both male and female. If anybody is selling you earthworms and tells buy 500 male and 500 female, he's cheating you. Every earthworm has both male and female, but they don't self-fertilize. They require a partner. So this is how they mate, lying opposite to each other. They produce cocoons, and from the cocoons, the young one comes out like this. This is how a young earthworm is born. This is how a young earthworm comes out, right? This is our local worm, Perionyx excavatus. Excellent worm, can produce good compost. Unfortunately, we don't like Indian products. We buy imported products. So these are the foreign worms, Icenia fetida. In North India, it's being used. There's one group of people who tell that earthworms produce heavy metals, which is a wrong thing completely. Earthworms cannot synthesize and produce heavy metals. Earthworms excrete what they eat. This data, which that gentleman is trying to talk about, is the research work done by Professor Hartenstein and Professor Neuhauser, with whom I was to collaborate in the US. But they work on the, what you call it as a trickling filter system of industrial wastewater. So when they consume industrial wastewater which has heavy metals, the excretion contains heavy metals. Do you know that we contain cyanide in us? Do you know that we contain gold in us? Are सारे population को मार के क्या gold निकालेंगे? If at all earthworms are producing heavy metals, then we can have a factory running heavy metal factory, right? So these are the African earthworms which are also being used. But the best is you can apply vermicompost, but if you really want good soil, you must have native earthworms. You must have native earthworms because these earthworms don't eat soil. ये नमक हराम है.
सर गवर्नमेंट जो प्रोपेगेट कर रहे हैं
वो यही है.
वर्मीकम्पोस्ट
यही है.
इज इट ओके?
It's okay as long as you use only the compost. इसको सड़ा हुआ गोबर में डालो, ऊपर एक उपली रख दो. Those who did not watch it, you have all cow dung which has lost its heat completely. In that you introduce the worms. Keep a cow dung cake on the top.
Cow dung dried?
Dried cow dung. They'll start multiplying. And who makes cow dung cakes? Smart players. But who sells cow dung cakes? 10 रुपए को लेके 140 रुपए पे बेच रहा है. That's vermicompost. Now, please remember, green leaves have more nitrogen, dry leaves have more carbon. And when you mix up things, see to it that the maximum should be 30 times of dry leaves to 1 part of green leaves. This is very important. Nitrogen is very important for composting purposes. Unfortunately, the term vermitech was coined by me for the world. These are the carbon-rich materials. These are the nitrogen-rich materials. Anything can be used. That's the reason why even nature, when it drops green and dry combined. It knows how to operate. We just put some coarse sticks at the base. Simplest unit I'm teaching you. Coarse sticks on the base for a height of about 6 inches to 10 inches. And on top of it, you can put some coconut frond or palm frond or jute or bag or whatever it is. Top of it, put your vegetables waste. Whatever green leaves, fodder, anything you have. In case you don't have cows with you. Many people have created a wrong fancy saying that you must have to produce compost. Not necessary. If you have, very good. You get very good manure. If you don't have, don't lose your head on it. Only thing is, remember that cooking a brinjal by cutting it into pieces is faster than putting the whole brinjal. So if you have big leaves, shred them. It increases the surface area. Composting is faster. Put it for about 10 inches or so. And then add microbial inoculum. And microbial inoculum, please don't buy from anywhere. The best source of microbial inoculum is cow dung. Take cow dung, dilute it in water. Not like sambar, but like rasam. Because microbes multiply when it is more dilute. Sprinkle on it. Create a height of about 4 to 5 feet. Loosely cover it with a polythene if you have it. Otherwise, it's not necessary. Because Chennai, we have its temperature very hot, so I cover it up. The water inside keeps evaporating because of the heat generated inside. You all know that when you put any organic matter and leave it, it generates a lot of heat. So water will evaporate. But if I have a cover on the top, water accumulates beneath the cover. And in the night when it gets cool, the same water infiltrates inside. So water keeps cycling. When water keeps cycling, microbes go along with the water. So they work with the water. And in about 10 to 15 days, the temperature goes to around 58 to 62 degrees Celsius. Don't use a thermometer to check it. If you want to use a thermometer, it should be a metal thermometer, not a mercury thermometer. Because if it breaks inside, you will be contaminating the whole soil. The composting starts with mesophilic bacteria, which can tolerate average temperature. The next step goes to thermophilic bacteria, which love the temperature. Then it comes back to mesophilic. And about 15 days, it starts coming down. You turn it over once. When you turn it over, because this heat will destroy unwanted microorganisms, unwanted microarthropods, and unwanted seeds. So after 15 days, we do a turnover when steam comes out, and then leave it again. Another 25, 30 days, the whole thing comes on. Do a coarse sieve. You can directly use it also as such on your soil, or use a coarse sieve, transfer it to a vermicompost pit, leave the earthworms there, they enjoy the meal, and then you sieve it further, and that's vermicompost for you. That's it. It's a very simple procedure. Don't get confused between these two. Nematodes are roundworms, earthworms have segments. Nematodes can be harmful. Not important if you want to use it yourself. If you want to market it, people like it. Be careful about this fellow. Bipalium cubensis. This has a triangular head. You will see it in your farm. It moves that way. This fellow enjoys eating earthworms. Be careful about it. If you see that, just sprinkle a little bit of salt on it and takes care of it. But otherwise, they kill earthworms. Whatever composting you do, this fellow will come. Yeah, if you are getting this fellow, grow poultry along with it. Just pick them up and give it to them. They enjoy it as biryani. Your job is taken care of, right? Otherwise, it will become a rhinoceros beetle, which can attack coconut trees. These are the simplest things which we started long back. I am using old pictures because Ranjit was a good friend of mine. He is no more. In Sri Lanka, just put sticks around. You have a compost pit. Just keep adding material, keep adding cow dung. That's all. That's all. Don't exert yourself. Decentralize. Now, instead of that, you can use this green jali जो आती है ना, plastic coated. उसको एक circle रख दो. नीचे से थोड़ा सा gap रख दो, 4 inches. Keep on adding cow dung. Keeps on composting. नीचे से निकालते जाओ, बस. Right? Simple. Or we do this for rural areas, which you can try in your own farms. We make measure a 3 feet dia and make a circle. Center में 2 feet to 2.5 feet, maximum 1.5 feet, ठीक रहता है. ऐसे निकालते हैं हम, और जो the soil which we take, we put it on the sides. In the center, we add cow dung, little water, microorganisms multiply, and we teach rural households, children, for you people as a project, I'm telling this especially. When you go and tell somebody, recycle your waste, they look at us and say, go mind your business. But when we tell them, create nutrition garden for your house, हाँ साहब करेंगे. They can, what is the resource material? आपका garbage, right? So put all that organic matter inside. In about 15 to 20 days, starts decomposing. Keep on adding your organic material over there. And then we start growing vegetables on the sides. It's a very simple procedure, which we are doing it for the government of Tamil Nadu's rural development completely. Be careful with these idiots. They will come to your farm and say that they can prepare compost in 24 hours. If they come to you, just ask them one question on my behalf, whether he was born in 10 months or in 10 minutes. Compost cannot be prepared in 24 hours. It is only a volume reduction machine. A simple question to you. You have a lot of fish with you. You have caught the fish and it died. You want to preserve it for 3 days. You don't have a refrigerator. You don't have ice. What will you do? Salt. So if you put salt, it will not rot. Why will it not rot? So it kills all the microorganisms. It removes all the moisture. Both, right? So but the fish becomes karwada, dry fish. The same thing we have been doing it to the soils. Nitrate is the salt of nitrogen. Phosphate is the salt of phosphorus. Potash is the salt of potassium. Keep on adding salt. What is happening to the soil? Karwada. Right. The second thing, you take too much salt, what do you want immediately? So soil management cannot be separated from water management. And water management cannot be separate from soil management. The more salt you add, the soil demands more water. These are simple things for your farm. I'm walking in the rain. I hold an umbrella. Does the rainwater fall on my head or around me? Around me. I don't have an umbrella. I go and stand under a well-grown tree, under the shade of the tree. A few drops may fall on my head, but most of the water will fall around the tree, right? Why should water fall around the tree? Water falls around the tree because the roots that drink are over there. So where should I water the tree? Near the canopy. Where should I give the nutrients? Near the canopy. 1 foot under the canopy. But what do? I don't bother about this. I feed near the trunk and say nothing grows, including the agriculture universities. Are you able to understand, ma? Please. There's a reason for farmers we teach this sort of trenches where they can just add it up. Mulch, sir has already spoken. I will not go into the details. But mulch is very important for microorganisms to multiply. Unfortunately, we're moving towards plastic mulch when we have so much of organic matter. Plastic mulch does not just protect water. Organic mulch provides habitat for multiplication of microorganisms. That's very important for us. These are the earthworm burrows, the circulatory system of the soil, based on which we created vermiwash. I started this in 1995. You can create any design you want. I'm not going to the details. You can make Panchagavya. Very simple. This is the procedure for Panchagavya. EM is being sold in the market because we as initial people who started work on organic farming in Auroville in those days, Bernard Namarwar, myself, Vandana and all those people, our aim was to pull a farmer from a chemical industry and make him independent. Unfortunately, today's motive speakers are pull him from a chemical market and push him towards an organic market. That's not the thing. The farmer should be independent. So EM was expensive. We taught them how to make EM and we call it as farmer's EM. Any fruit which is overripe, put it, add jaggery equal quantity, water, close it in a plastic bottle, keep shaking every day. Fermentation takes place. After 30-35 days, it smells of alcohol. You have a beautiful fermented tonic, dilute it, spray it. 30 to 40 days. Same thing is fish amino with fish waste. Excellent tonic. Those who take fish, please, you eat the fish, the remaining parts. The trash fish can be used. These are coconut buttermilk can be used. This prevents the flowers to fall before fruiting. Bioenzymes have come in. The best I teach for home gardens. Yeah, you eat banana, you put the peel in a bottle, close it, put water, leave it for 3-4 days, filter, use that water. Excellent potassium. Your hibiscus oil will glow beautifully well. So don't go about it. It is eggshells. Plenty of eggshells. Just crush them slightly. They have an inner membrane which will stink otherwise. So slightly roast it. Ordinary kadai rakhe, usme thoda sa halka sa roast kar de. The inner membrane dries up, but the shells will become slightly yellow or light brown. Put in a bottle, add vinegar. If there's 1 inch of shell, add vinegar in such a way there's 1 inch above it. Vinegar, ordinary way. Don't ask me apple cider vinegar, organic vinegar and all. Because vinegar has acetic acid in it. Eggshell has carbonate in it. Immediately start bubbling. Within a day, all the elements in the eggshell are there in the liquid. Take it, dilute it, spray it. I'm not telling you a dilute percentage because it is your responsibility to identify it. Jivamurt, I'm not against any technology. If you find it useful, you can use it. He's Dr. Natarajan who worked on Panchagavya. I worked on vermiwash. One simple experiment. I removed most of the slides because the time was running out. Now, please understand, don't go and ask any scientist about the validity of the product you have developed. You use any rotting for fruit or overripe fruit with jaggery, prepare a liquid. Ban gaya. 35 days ho gaya, 40 days ho gaya. You don't know whether it's a good fertilizer or not. Take a 5% or 10% solution in a glass bottle or a glass tumbler. In another one, take water. Keep onions on the top. If the onion is small, put some toothpicks and keep it on the top. The roots will start growing. If the roots are growing longer and thicker, you have a new fertilizer for yourself and you can go ahead with it. Don't ask any scientist. It's the simplest way you can do it. Seeds is quick run. So many seeds are there in your own kitchen. You don't need to buy it. Our traditional seeds are called as heirloom seeds. Remember that? Even this, when I want to buy in a market, I can always say, agar ek sitapal kha raha hu main, I can always say how many seeds were there in that sitapal. But I can never predict how many sitapals will be produced from one seed. That is nature. That is nature, right? Even these seeds in the market are coming colored. Be careful. This color is because of a nasty chemical called as neonicotinoids. Neonicotinoids. It's a 5th generation neurotoxic substance which is coated on the top. What I'm worried is about my farmers who will be sowing that seed and without knowing they'll be also smoking a BD. So their fingers will be touching the lips and they passively transfer it inside the bodies. Alternative. This is giving me excellent results. Not just me, I have transferred it to Asian countries. Yeah, termite soil is very important. You can also do projects on termite soil. Be careful between this difference. Hybrids is different. GMO is different. Genetically modified is different. They wanted to bring golden rice, we fought against it. Then they wanted to bring Briti cotton, we fought against it, but they said it is non-edible crop. Is it edible or non-edible? Non-edible. Edible. Edible.
Edible.
What do you eat?
Oil.
You don't drink. In Madurai, they prepare cotton seed milk. In Nagapatnam, Nagur, Paratipal. In Nagur, Nagapatnam, they prepare halva out of it. Secondary product is preparing oil, cake, cotton seed cake, and that is fed to the cows and we drink the milk. Then, then they wanted to bring in brinjal. One brinjal for the whole country. When India produces 60 varieties now, and Tamil Nadu produces nearly 22 varieties of brinjal at this point of time. One brinjal for the whole country. We fought against. Now they want to bring mustard. Please be aware. Funnily, these fellows, mustard, they want to introduce us DMH11, Dhara mustard hybrid. Because we always tell farmers when they come, sir, I did not get native seeds. Can I try with hybrid? We say, okay, go ahead. Hybrid is okay because it is same plant. Whereas GMO is entirely different, where we use Bacillus thuringiensis. Their genes to do it.
Sir, but BT cotton has already sneaked in.
It has sneaked in. Now people are trying to revert because it's not yielding results now. They spoil the market. All these are HT seeds. Glyphosate and glufosinate are used. So we fight against it. This is the first time in my country since independence, a notification is issued by the ICAR, by the director. If anybody talks about this, action will be taken by the government. Can you imagine this? Right? Kab wo bhi? Azadi ke mahotsav pe. No azadi. No azadi. So what will happen between biodiversity and biotechnology? Biodiversity will create all the judo karate. And biotechnology will shoot it down. This is what will happen. Right? Be careful with all these things which are coming in. RBGH has come in the market. Recombinant bovine growth hormone. One injection of this, you can drain all the milk from the cattle. But the cow will develop mastitis of the udder in about 3.5 to 4 years. Girl children in rural areas drinking this milk will attain puberty at the age of 7 and 8. 7 and 8. Look at this. I've been talking about this, but people did not take seriously. A cow has just given birth to a female calf. Just born female calf. Half a liter of milk is being given by the just born calf. Growth hormones. Please understand what's happening. So when you people have this enthusiasm of permaculture, which Narsana really wanted that we should all meet, this is the reason. We may be small in number, but we make a voice. All these things are happening with corporatization. These are all biopolitics, which is beyond comprehension. So who is the greatest scientist on the farm? To control pests, there is a wonderful professor. Please contact your professor in your area. And that is Professor Goat. Take Professor Goat for a walk. Professor Goat eats everything. Whatever plant a goat does not eat has plant repellent properties. That's all, pest repellent properties. So if your goat doesn't eat it, take that leaf, 3 or 4 varieties, crush it, put it in a bottle, add water, leave it for fermentation for about 15 days, drain it, dilute, spray, broad spectrum pest repellent is ready with you. So next time, take Professor with you for a walk. That's why this leaf is called as Ada Toda. The name comes from Tamil. Ada Toda Dadu. Goat doesn't touch. So you can just prepare it. You can use it. This is what we're teaching to lots of farmers. So natural pest control agents multiply. All these garden lizards come. James Bond comes back. And they try to go for an integrated pest management, which is now called as ecological pest management. White grubs may come. For white grubs, this is working out very well. For root grubs. Hinji Pundu Perangayam. Asafoetida, Hing. It's working out very well. Complete Malaysia, everybody has started using. We call it as NCBT 01 because I was heading the first biotechnology department of that college. Only request, let us call it as permaculture. Let some of them call it as biodynamic. Let some call it as sustainable. Let some call it as natural. Let some call it as organic. Let us all unite to work towards non-chemical, non-poisonous farming. You use whatever you want. You want to do permaculture, do a permaculture design. You want to use compost, borrow it from there. You want some Amrut Pani, you borrow it from there. As long as you don't use chemicals, please be happy with it and try to bring in a new India. And let us move from crop-centric to farmer-centric approach. That's what we're giving it in the policy. So please become creative. Do you know what is creativity? This is what man does at the home. Madam doesn't like it, so she breaks it. So we should not cry. make it as a tabla. That is creativity. So in spite of so many pressures on us, we will change it. And technology plays an important part in modern agriculture. There's a keyboard over there. My only request to all the technologists is technology should assist the farmer, not replace the farmer. It should not replace. This is what has happened now. Alexa, find help, playing Help by the Beatles. That's what is artificial intelligence. I love this statement by one of our Tamil poets. He said, we are able to see elephants today, but we're not able to see earthworms. Right? So shall we reworm the world? Because today when it rains, water does not drip into the soil. When worms multiply and make channels, rains, waters will go into the soil. People spoke about global warming. I work with global warming. Yeah. The greatest reward of my research is this term vermitech was coined by me for the world. Yeah, this was coined by me for the world. And the greatest honor my state has given is children from my state read about me in the textbooks. That's the greatest award which anybody can get. So please, participants, update your knowledge. Update your knowledge because only knowledge will make you grow. That's the reason we have all met over here at Narsana's invitation. And that was the first organic meeting where Vandana's staff are seated in the front. There is now, that's Bernard, who actually pioneered the organic farming movement in South India. And that was I. And we jointly conducted the meeting workshop in 83, 84. When Namalwar came as a participant and we all became friends. So that's the origin. These are the first days of transfer of information and knowledge. And once vermicompost was clear, I took a patent and released it for the people in 92. That's vermiwash, first time 95. People now talk about terrace gardens. We started it in 1999. Started up. So but if you have to do all this work, what should you have? Yes, today even if you walk quietly, there is somebody to push you down. So don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. And one small question, when it rains and rainwater falls on the soil, whom does this water belong to? Soil. Now, if you take a pot and leave it over there from your home and collect water in the pot, to whom does that water belong to now in the pot? To you, to you, to you. Yeah, yeah. But I gave you that pot. You don't have any other pot. Now, whom does it belong to? She doesn't have the heart to tell it belongs to me. For an imaginary question, my farmer, his farm, his field, his labor, corporates are trying to give a few money and take everything from them. Things are changing. We have to be aware. We have to be aware. I don't want to use this platform on politics, but please be very careful about it. We used to call in Tamil, Malay Sandha, we used to call it as Kurunji. This Kurunji has moved from there to Kuari. And forest regions, we call it as Mullai. From Mullai, it has moved over to factories. And all the agricultural regions, we called it as Marudam. And Marudam today has become plots. And all the coastal regions, we called it as Naidal. They have become as waste discharge units. And finally, sandy regions were called as Palai. And Palai has now become trucks and lorries, taking away everything. A drastic change has to come. A drastic awareness has to come in the minds of all the youngsters who are working in this field. Please take it forward. What is there? Heart. Where should your heart be? Just move an alphabet to the end and you are there, right? And to conclude, एक शेर मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है हमेशा, बहुत अच्छा लगता है. मिट्टी कहती है, कोई एहसान ना करो मुझसे तो एहसान होगा. करना ही हो एहसान तो मुझे जीने दो. And if you want to do all this, just remember one word. What is it? Without the last letter T, manage human beings. Without the last letter N, manage. That's what I want you people to do. Each one of us can start managing now. We can manage others, and that is management. You don't require an MBA degree to understand this, right? These are my new books which have been released recently. That's our eye view, but who cares? All the best. Good luck to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I know we are already overwhelmed, with the reality, but if I ever have to vote the coolest professor in the college or anywhere, it would be Sultan Ismail.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.